What's up, everybody? We're on a podcast now. I'm Alex, and we are back for another Friday live stream. I thought, you know what? This is probably a good time to talk about Scream 7. We have Scream 7 stopping filming potentially next week. I know there's kind of rumors or reports out there that maybe it's next week. Maybe they actually pushed a little bit further because there's the weather delays and things like that. So probably within the next 7 to 10 days, Scream 7 is done filming. I was going to do something maybe next Friday, but we're actually going to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of podcasts now next Friday. Going to be really, really fun. We have to actually kind of plan out what we're going to do, but I thought, let's talk about Scream 7 in today's live stream. So hope everybody's doing good. Those watching live, of course, those watching later. It's been quite a ride, I guess, for the Scream 7 filming, because anytime you think that you're kind of done, I actually had this kind of feeling earlier this week where it's like, I saw some stuff, and I'm probably going to do a video tomorrow as well, just on like the last couple, reports or rumors that are going around on what specifically is being filmed or, things like that. I thought, okay, you have that, but maybe I don't want to touch it. Maybe I do. But it actually has been quiet ever since like the last big shoe dropped, right? And then of course, like the next thing drops. So just when you think it's over, just when you think that there's nothing too impactful, then they announce like a David Arquette, is coming back, or like I said, there was a couple other rumors that I personally saw on Twitter that I'll be doing a video on probably tomorrow. But whenever you think you're done, there's just like the next pretty big thing that happens. And I don't know. It does get very exciting. I do get a little, not really worried, but I do understand the sentiment that, could you have just not announced almost any of this stuff? Because I think at the end of the day, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how pretty much all of this stuff is pulled off when the movie, releases. But what it would have been like to not know any of this stuff. And you could say the desperation thing. Some people will say that they're desperate. Some people will say, maybe because of the Melissa and Jenna thing. I don't know. Like, to me, I would have probably preferred that you kept a lot of this stuff under wraps. I just think probably having like having Stu just like appear in the movie without knowing that going in, I think might have actually broken some people mentally, including potentially myself. But at the same time, that's not the reality we live in. We know a lot of at least the characters that are going to be in it, and now it's pretty much just about how you utilize them and utilizing them to the best degree, making sure that they can really. I think it all comes down to really impacting Sydney and Gale. I mean, the Dewey thing, as we talked about in that video, right? A few days ago, I think that impacts Gale more than anybody. The psychological kind of thing that they can potentially do. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I really want them to, I guess, push these characters. And I guess one of the ways that you can push these characters is by bringing back all of the cast of these previous movies. But man, I mean, there's reports of Emma Roberts coming back. We'll talk about that a little bit in a video tomorrow. I think the rumor is that it would be just like a little, like very, very little. I personally think at this point, maybe like a Roman thing, that's kind of what they'll do, or like the flashback, I guess, but I would not be surprised if several Ghostface killers came back in just like the quickest of cameos, almost like just a rapid fire, like Ghostface is pressing the buttons, on his voice box, and all of a sudden it's a new one. At the same time, you think of these people when they're announced, and you think of their face, right? You don't necessarily think of, I guess you can. You don't necessarily think of the voice. So I'd like to see them. If you're going to bring Emma Roberts back, even if it's for literally 30 seconds, I think seeing her would be a really cool thing versus hearing her, if I had a preference, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, to bring as many of them back as possible, there's still a line, I think, of do you bring back these people that are or how many and what meaning do they have to Sydney? I mean, I guess the thread that connects them all, right, is of course they all try to kill her at one point in their lives, but to do more personal stuff, right, with like a Billy Stu is not even necessarily all that personal, but to do those two, or to do Jill, to have that family type bond, to do Roman, also literally family, right? I think those make sense. I mean, you could start picking other people, like other Scream 4, Scream 3. I mean, you could just kind of go down the line, or not Scream 3, Scream 2, right? You could kind of go down the line. I don't know if it's all that necessary at that point. It's almost like a rogues gallery, right? Like a Batman rogues gallery of villains. So we'll see how all that stuff plays out at the end of the day. But I am excited. I'm very excited. I this thing is going to end, like I said, in the next 7 to 10 days, and then we're just going to kind of be sitting here, sitting here for I think a very, very long time. I guess the next step, of course, being waiting for the trailer. So we'll see. We'll see how long we actually have to wait, because if nothing changes whatsoever, we're gonna have to wait like an incredibly long time, like 6 months or so. We'll go back in time here to Dragon Ball fan. I'm doing good, buddy. Hope you're still here. Hope you're doing good. Oh man, yeah, he's in like everything, right? So I have not watched Daredevil yet. I've seen some stuff that I would actually prefer that I didn't see, but I'm really excited to see him in season 2, and then obviously Five Nights. I thought he was actually the best part of the first movie, and then of course for him to come back in the rumor of a like supposedly pretty big role in Scream 7. That's sweet. I mean, he's definitely on the second half of his career, but that man, I guess, all of a sudden is kind of in everything, right? So good on him, because I think he's always been. I mean, when I see him, I think of Stu. I really think of Shaggy. I think more than like anything. I think of 13 Ghosts. Is that the movie? I don't know his character name in that, but I think to that movie, but specifically to Shaggy, like that'll just always be him to me. I think, I think a lot of people look at a person, an actor, right, and say there's a character that just really, that is who they are to them. And I think Shaggy will always be that for me with him. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really happy to see him in more stuff, because I also think he's just a really good actor that doesn't get utilized, I think, as much as he honestly can. I don't think well, I mean, Scream 7, I think, is going to be a reboot, but also just kind of, I think it'll address, Sam and Tara. I think there was a rumor way, way back that they would mention that maybe they've gone into hiding, or just that they're okay, like they're still around. I think Chad would probably be the best person, right, to do that, to kind of just excuse away Sam and Tara. But reboot, I guess you could call it that. But I mean, I personally don't think Dewey is alive. I personally think Dewey's dead. There's always what if scenarios, and it would be cool. I mean, I've seen like comments on even my videos, and people have made the argument, and I think respectfully, and I respectfully, I understand where people are coming from, but I'll always take like what's done is done, right? Like what you did is what you did. And as soon as because like Nightmare on Elm Street, right? Like you've had film franchises that have just kind of broken it and said, okay, we're going to. I mean, there's been film franchises that have done sort of all sorts of different things, right? They'll pick which movies are canon. They will completely kind of go off the deep end and kind of restart, or do these kind of what if scenarios where they cut out the middle movies and just do kind of like the first couple and the last couple. You could look to, say, Halloween even for that. And I'm fine, when movies do that, like they do it again, like what they do is what they do. I think for Scream, what's always made it special to me is like it is what it is. And as soon as you break that, right, as soon as you try to do this like Elseworlds type thing, it's over. Like that's the new path. So I just feel this kind of like grounded in semi-reality Scream. This is it. This is like what you got. And it would be cool to see a Scream movie where like certain movies didn't happen, but at the same time, like, well, I really like all of them, so I don't really think you need to do that. And I get it to like bring certain characters back, but I don't know. Once you do that, you kind of, I don't know, you reset it so much that you reset it, but you also kind of like reset the rules of like what you can do. That I just think it fundamentally changes Scream too much, So that's my very long answer to the Dewey thing. I get it. I get wanting him back. I get being mad about 5, but I don't see it. I don't see. I think once you do that, it's too late at that point. I've watched Scream 6. So God, maybe 1, 2. I saw it 2 or 3 times in theaters, and I think I saw it 2 times at home. So I've probably seen it somewhere in the range of 4 times. I honestly like it a little bit more each time I watch it. I think Scream 6 specifically, when I rewatch it, it highlights both the major strengths and the major weaknesses. I feel like it's been a while. I don't think I've watched Scream 6 since the 1 year. So since maybe last full year ago, since I watched 6. And what I remember is that the strengths of it really come through, and then the weaknesses, the subway scene, the Kirby thing at the end, just trying to make you think that she's the killer. How they do the ending, certain elements of it. You really, really see those weaknesses. At the same time, I think I see like the strengths of like the having fun and stuff like that. But I will say, I mean, that's a little bit different than like Scream 5. Scream 5, I think, gets a little bit better every time I watch it. I don't think like any element actually gets worse. I feel like just the entire movie gets better. So, a little bit different, depending on which movie I guess you're talking about. Yeah, I remember seeing a trailer for that, and I never watched that. I have watched some of like the British Bake Offs and all this. My wife and daughter would get into those and would watch a bunch of them, and I've seen a bunch of those. Those are very talented people. I'd like to eat a lot of those cakes, honestly. I do see there being a Scream 8, unless Scream 7 really, really, really fails. And by really, I guess I mean like just under $100 million, which I personally think it'll get more than that. Then it's oh no. I did not know that. Well, thanks for ruining it. No, I'm just kidding. Man, I did not know that. No, I've seen some. I saw like the big thing that I really would, because people are just like posting clips, and I mean they'll say spoilers, but like the video is playing. You know what I mean? They'll say spoilers. He's so back or whatever, and then like the video, as I'm reading spoilers and then the first couple words, even if the sentence isn't a spoiler, the clip that they're sharing is literally the freaking thing. If you know, you know. And I was pretty upset about that. So I do want to watch it. I do want to watch, and if it falls apart, I will. I think for Daredevil, I'm simply going to watch it until it falls apart. I have not enough time in my life to do it, and so I'm not going to give time to another Disney like destruction project. I'm not going to do it. So if it happens, I will only watch it until then, and then I'm done. I'm not going to give it second, third, fourth tries. You know what? I got to watch those Andor, because I know season 2 is coming out, and I never saw season 1. Heard it was so good. Heard it's the best Star Wars thing since Star Wars. So I don't know. By the way, if Star Wars Episode 3 comes out in theaters near me, I'm definitely going to go see it when it comes back for the 20th anniversary. I saw it 20 years ago, so I might as well do it again now. Oh, nice. That movie looks weird. Not bad, just weird. How was it? Robert Pattinson is a very good actor. I heard he did a good Batman. I heard that or didn't he say he has a like somewhat vague idea of what the Batman 2 is about? They just need to freaking film that thing. Loomis, I like I said, I think like could they do, or Dr. Loomis, could they do more than just, because as of right now, like the reporting is kind of like the elite ghost faces, the ones that you think of, or the ones that are like, again, directly related to Sydney outside of Stu. So I personally think they probably stay away from 2, both of them. I guess they do all of 1, the 1 and 3, 1, half of 4, 0 of 5, and 0 of 6. Maybe they do 1 of 5 and 6, but do they really need to? Not really. But that's I don't know. They're either going to kind of do, I think, most, if not all of them, or they're going to kind of cherry pick them. It feels like they're cherry picking. So I don't know. I don't know for sure. So, I mean, I just think it's AI and deep fake, deep cut, whatever they call it, stuff, where they're going to try to make you believe that some of them are back. Some of them are going to be like way less realistic, right, than others. So I mean, there's been rumors about that, which, would be kind of easy to just say, but I also think it's just a fun little theory. Exactly. Who the F is Danny? I kind of forgot about Danny myself. He really got the short end of the stick, because I think that relationship was going somewhere and deserves something, and then you just freaking, you dump Melissa, so you can't have Sam, and so you can't bring him with you. But yeah, no, they could literally do. But I will say, okay, in terms of like all jokes aside, because of the Chad Tara thing, and the rumor is they've broken up lore wise, right, canonically. So I do feel like there's an opportunity to like do something, even just for like a split second, to be like, oh yeah, they broke up, and almost have like a 3.5 second like grieving period for like us for that relationship. But then you slip in honestly something very similar to what you said in 6 for Sydney, right? Um, like I think that is what's going to happen, because and here's the thing too, like you might want to just keep these doors open, like they're not old, so 10 years from now, they're in their early 40s and early 30s, right? And it's like they could come back at some point. I'm not saying necessarily to replace Nev and Sydney again, but just to almost be, maybe they become like a Kirby like character where they pull them out one random movie, they hide them away again. Does it make a lot of sense? Not really, but they are essential characters like to those movies, and they're always going to be around in the Scream fandom. I think it's very hard to ignore like the two main characters of 2 of the 6 Scream movies. So they could always come back, and I'm saying that because like, so you want to just leave the door open, right? Like you want to just have it be a possibility that they could come back for a I think a Kirby like role is probably the best way of describing it, honestly. Yeah, I haven't ranked them in a bit. I also haven't watched them. I would want maybe 4-7. Maybe 4-7. I would like to watch like all of them in one go. I don't normally do that. The most I've ever done, I think I watched 4 Pirates of the Caribbean movies back to back, like all in one day. So to watch 6 Scream movies, I mean they're about an hour and a half each, right? So that's only that's not that long. That's not that long. Scream? Well, I don't think we watched all of them back. Huh? Yeah, but we didn't watch them like all in one day. That would require like 8 to 10 hours. We do need a Scream video game. Until then, we can settle for Until Dawn and The Quarry and things like that. So yeah, Death by Daylight. Yeah, I guess you could play as Ghostface in that. Triple M Gaming, what is going on, man? Thanks for stopping by. Alan Wake 2, Alan Wake 1, first DLC. It's much short. Yeah, is that the one where? Well, I don't want to spoil it. The ending, like the concert. I think that's the ending of one of them. Is that American Nightmare that you're talking about, or maybe that's the one before American Nightmare? Yeah. I mean, Alan Wake just in general can get pretty difficult. you know, Maybe I'm milking the series. Yeah, no, milking the series. They would say no. Hey, I found something that I think I've proven throughout my 10 years that hey, if I'm super into something, you're just gonna see a lot of it. If I was true, I know you're kidding, but if I was truly milking any of these, then the channel would just become those kind of forever, right? Like I've gone so deep into Kingdom Hearts, made hundreds of videos, Hogwarts Legacy, hundreds of videos, Scream, hundreds, but Pirates of the Caribbean, but not ever just one, right? So it's like, I don't know. It's a weird channel for sure. And I probably should just make spin-offs and just have these channels just be dedicated to them. But that's not how I chose to do this, is it? But yeah, no, I don't know if like you said, you've only watched the first one. I mean, there have been specifically at like when Scream is at its peak. Like I don't know how long you've been around, but like when it came to 5 and 6, what I found really cool, and this will happen like for games too. What I just find really cool is like when it gets really close, or when say Scream 5 came out, or when Scream 6 came out, I would see comments of people that are into gaming and stuff, and they would say, hey, like you kind of convinced me to check out Scream 6 or whatever. And it's like, it's not going to change their life, but they went to see a movie, and it's like, that's a cool thing. I tend to see people say that for games. Oh, you showed me that this game that I didn't even know existed. But to get a gamer, right, pull them and then to like throw them at a movie franchise, I think is actually kind of cool, and probably harder to do, I would say. I would like other things. So a prequel thing I think would be pretty cool. There has been definitely that idea of like a Maureen Prescott prequel television show or movie type thing. That would be really, really cool. Oh my God. Telos, what's going on? And I did see, yes, the Powerpuff Girls thing was one of the worst. Actually, no, not even one of. I think if that show came out, it would probably be the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I mean, the CW. I used to see clips of just a bunch of kind of the DC era of that. I mean, Jesus. So yeah, no, that Powerpuff Girls thing looked like the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. And I kind of want to like have a show actually have happened just to, I guess they noticed, but it's like, how do you even film that? How do you film it? Well, the writers, I think, should never find a job ever again. But how you write that and how it gets approved is definitely one thing. How you film it is another thing. And then how it even gets to a point where executives look at it and have to make a decision on it. And it made it that far is interesting. Definitely interesting. I'd make it gory and have it be like Hush from Arkham City. Yeah. Well, Scream, like I've said before, one of the reasons why I kind of prefer Scream is just I'm not a big like gore person. So the fact that, it does get violent and, I mean, it's gotten violent in different like patches of its career, but it doesn't go too far because I don't know if I'd be able to watch it if it goes too far. I'll cover it when it's out, but I did that one video of the rumor and then it got confirmed. And then there were other videos I needed to do. If there's like groundbreaking news of a game, I would cover it immediately. And then if there's something that's kind of like mid-level and you don't see me cover it, chances are I'm not going to cover it. But I love Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and I'm very excited for the new one. Mark Ruffalo acting. Mark Ruffalo is pretty hit or miss, I'd say, just in general. But that's good. That's good. You see a lot of movies, I think. Who's going to see Until Dawn? That's one that I definitely want to see Until Dawn, but I'm waiting. I'm not going to see it in theaters. I want to see Hard Eyes, though. And I think it's on digital. So that's something that I definitely, at some point, maybe over the next couple weeks, definitely want to watch Hard Eyes. The thing, it's got a date, February 27th. So it's already got, I guess Q1. But there is speculation that maybe it moves. I personally don't think so, but maybe it releases early. I think you can move it like up by like a month and a half. Like you could do it mid-January, and I don't really think it would change so much. No, I have not played the new. I've been doing Split Fiction yesterday, but Astro, I haven't played the last two, so I gotta get in there and get my ranking high. But I gotta do Split Fiction. I'm working on God of War 1, so I'm doing other stuff right now. Wow, 2 is your personal favorite. I don't know how many people I've ever seen that put 2 there. 2, 1, 4, 3, 5, 6. That's a good ranking. I can appreciate that it's a little out there, as I've always said. I mean, if I were to maybe I should write it down. I mean, if I were to do a ranking now, I still have got to put 3 as the worst. I'm sorry, I got to do it. And I think I would still do 5 as the second worst. But then 1, I mean, I know 6 exists, so maybe 6 after that. But then you got 2 and 4. I've always said I think I like 4 as like the next one. I think I would probably go 1, 4, 2, 6, 5, 3. So about as messed up in terms of organizing that as possible. I think 1, 4, 2, 6, 5, 3. Just spitballing, not having watched them in about a year since I've watched any of them. Well, I think, it's funny because at least Scream is still around. It's funny because Scream is still around, and that's why I talk about it so much. But in reality, and I've said it before, I mean, I would say as time has gone on, like Harry Potter would make a good pitch still, and Star Wars, of course, is childhood importance to me. Like growing up, when I was like 8 or 9, Star Wars was definitely the most important like pop culture thing or movie franchise. And then like Harry Potter came, Pirates of the Caribbean came. I would still say Pirates is my favorite. And Scream is probably number 2, but also it helps that Scream is still around. Like Harry Potter getting the show, like, that's interesting to a degree, but it's just, it's been like 13, 14 years or whatever since Harry Potter was like a thing. So that brings it down a little bit, but I mean, Harry Potter is forever important. Star Wars used to be so important, and then they killed it. So if we're talking like episode 3 time and me as a 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old, I mean, Star Wars was like everything. And so that really went down quick. But yeah. So it's tough. It's tough. Most influential horror film. I would put in the top 5. I think Halloween kind of has to be. Well, what's a horror film? Like is The Shining. The Shining would be up there, things like that. If we're talking like slasher wise, I think if you just put it at slasher, I think it's number 2, like Halloween and then Scream. Because it saved, I truly believe, it saved the genre in the late 90s. Like it literally brought it back / saved it. So I think it should deserve a lot of credit. And it's just throughout all of the movies, like it stayed fairly consistently good. Whereas a lot of other movies have had really good, maybe you could argue it's better, but then they've struggled more, right? At least to me. But yet again, I'm a pretty bad person to ask about, that. Joel returning. I think Joel will come back in 3. Through I don't know how, but I feel like considering because I do think Last of Us 3 would literally be it. Ellie might die, stuff like that. I think if Ellie were to die or get close to death, kind of like I guess spoilers. If you guys played The Walking Dead, how they did with Clementine and getting Lee to come back and all that, I think that's a good path. Like kind of almost death when your character is almost dead and they have like the hallucination period, and they can kind of connect the characters of the past in that story. I think that's a good opportunity. So because you've already done flashbacks with Joel, like you've already done a couple things to bring him back to Ellie. I think her about to die and seeing Joel like one more time, I think that is a kind of a cliched way, but it works. It's a way that works. Oh, yeah, I remember American Nightmare actually kind of being tougher to like get to. American Nightmare is definitely worth it though, by the way. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel Scream 3 for the most part is at times I think it I don't know. I don't know if I want to say bad. At times it gets very close to being bad. At other times it's just not that good, But there are very high highs in Scream 3, that really help it. Yeah, I saw one just idea that like maybe the oldest one, Isabella May, I think is her name. That maybe they kill her, and then the other 2 daughters of Sydney would be like the leads, so they in the next movies and stuff. I don't know how I would feel about like eliminating Sydney's children. It is quite far. That's one that's just kind of tough, right? Where you almost have to leave them alone, but you got to put them in danger, so you're in kind of a tough spot with that. But I don't know. We'll have to see, because like it's easy to say they're just going to make Sydney's daughters like the next thing and they can kind of carry the franchise. And it does make sense, because she is like the ultimate final girl of that, and to give it to just her family makes the most sense. The thing that's outside of the lore and that is how much we like them, right? So like if these are just not good characters, very hard to make us follow them for like the next 20, 30 years if they're not very good, right? So it's tough. It's kind of strictly Scream, but as you've seen, we've answered questions and talked about stuff that's not Scream. So you can comment stuff that's not Scream. I am going to do, Epic. It's funny you mentioned that, because Crash 1 was the first game I thought of to do a platinum run on. So yes, I'm heavily considering Crash specifically. Maybe Spyro. Maybe I have actually thought of Spyro to do a platinum thing on Spyro once, but I actually Crash was very much in contention. And I think, like I said, Resogun is next, and then I would not be shocked if Crash was after that, or at least close. Fixing WB is on Sunday. It's already recorded. It's already done. I think it's actually quite good. So fixing the WB situation is on Sunday, and got a couple other cool stuff that we'll talk about starting with that. That's the starting point. Definitely my favorite Robert Pattinson film, and the visuals. My God. I just don't watch a lot of movies. I trust you. I trust you guys. I believe you. But I don't know. It just... I I'm kind of like a normie, so and does hurt. I think a movie like that because I think it's very specific. But I hope it does good. Because there's definitely good movies that are out there that I think just don't appeal to like the normie type culture. That's probably one of them. So I hope it finds its audience. Well, I don't know if it's considered like I think Rotten Tomatoes, it's literally considered the worst one. To me, it's just the worst, just because I would say more than anything, just forgettable cast. You got all the returning people, and then besides a couple standouts, okay, which there are a couple of them. But besides a couple, you really just have, I think, one of the weakest casts. Actually, no, the weakest cast of any Scream film. I think the deaths were pretty watered down. I don't know if one Ghostface killer really worked. So, just had like a weird feeling to it. I was also not the biggest fan of the voice changer. I thought it's a clever thing for the time. I think this actually was very timely for the time. But yeah, those are just some of the reasons. Yeah, no, I'm gonna watch Hard Eyes. I'm gonna watch it at some point. Yeah, Until Dawn. Until Dawn, I definitely want to see. I think it looks good enough for me to use 2 hours of my time to see it. I'm not gonna see it in the theaters. I don't actually know. I guess I mean like Superman. I know for sure I'm gonna see Superman in theaters. I don't know. And there's a lot of movies in May, right? I want to watch The Karate Kid. So there will be hopefully some movies like May, June, July that I'll end up going to the theaters to see. But I don't go to the theaters that often, honestly. It brought me back to the time Santa Monica said there wasn't going to be DLC for Rag. Yeah, no, I mean studios lie all the time, right? It's we got to talk about the God of War situation that just happened today too. I'm going to make a video on that, but yeah, I mean, I don't believe the guy. I don't believe him for a lot of things, but I also don't believe him for that either. Yeah, studios lie to protect their secrets, which, I understand. I understand. Imagine if they made a Pirates of the Caribbean game, but it's like Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Yeah, it's tough because like the thing with Pirates of the Caribbean, like the film franchise, is there is a lot of talking and there's a lot of like really strong characters, so it doesn't have to be like all sword and ship fights. You know what I mean? Like that needs to be a big, big part of it, but there's also that sense of like huge villains. Davy Jones and the Kraken and Beckett and stuff in 3 and what the Pirate Lords, but there's a lot to it besides just that stuff. So I feel like Black Flag would be an okay template. And you just go a little fantasy, like, you push it a little bit more, right? Even like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii pushed a little bit towards the end. If you know, you know. Lord, yeah, yeah. Yeah, Harry Potter, I would used to watch them all like leading into the next movie towards the end, maybe like 5, 6, 7, 7 part 2. I would like just binge all of them. But I was just never into Lord of the Rings as much, but I have watched them. I have watched all of those. Mr. Yes. I think that's fair. I think there's something different about 5 and 6. Like I said, my problems with 3 are pretty well known. I think in the videos that I've made in the last 4 years, right, that I've been covering it. So 3 definitely fits with the other ones, I think. But yet again, it does kind of feel like a thing all on its own. But 5 and 6 definitely do feel different than that. Oh dear. If there was one game you wish could get a show adaptation. Oh, oh man, that's a tough one. I want to say like I really want to see what a Kingdom Hearts thing looks like. Remember there was rumors of a Disney Plus Kingdom Hearts show. That would be kind of wild. But I don't know if that would actually work as long as Nomura is involved. But man, a game turned into a show. Like which one would I like? I don't think I just get worried you would ruin it, right? So like Life is Strange is one that pops up. Kingdom Hearts is one that pops up. We've already tried Uncharted. I don't know. I that's a tough one. That's a really like Gravity Rush is an interesting one. I'm trying to think of ones that even like they actually are doing. I guess, could we try Sly Cooper? Like, could we actually get that to happen? Because they were going to do that and then it got canceled at the last minute. So, yeah. Maybe Sly. I'll just default to my favorite game. Has it really been 3 years or has it been 2? How long was Jedi Survivor? I guess so then. I forgot what year. Has it really been 3 years since Survivor? I don't think that's true, is it? But maybe 3 years. Yeah. Well, it's a cliche. There's a cliche in that age, but it's a good cliche. Yeah, I would get American Nightmare. I'd find a way to make that work. I did see that. I'm not gonna do a video on it just because of, I don't want EA to kind of get trigger happy and stuff, but I did see the Battlefield stuff. Crash 4, well, Crash 4 is one of the hardest platinums I think to ever get, so we'll see. We'll see. I have seen the Jumanji movies, of course, the legendary, original. Very different than like the new age ones. I gotta say, in terms of the new age ones, I really like Jumanji. Really, it was a good era. I know, things have been said about The Rock and Kevin Hart and stuff since then. Even Jack Black is on a really, I'd say, bad stretch of films. But I really like Jumanji 1 and 2, and I hope that they still make a 3, personally. Final Destination just gets like I like under my skin type thing. So I would say I'm very interested in it, but I'm not gonna see it. Like I'm just like I will see. I want to I would probably read the plot then watch the movie because I'm just not into it. Like having that sort of tension for an entire movie, I think would kill me. And then Now You See Me 3, I really liked Now You See Me 1 and 2. Personally, thought they were good fun. They're nothing more. They're nothing less. So I don't think I'll see Now You See Me 3 in theaters, but I'm excited for it. I think it's still kind of likely. I think they're lying. Santa Monica. Mission Impossible. Yeah, that's the other one. Mission Impossible is a ballerina is one too. I'm gonna see those in theaters for sure. For sure. Yeah, Karate Kid. I just want to see kind of because I'm riding high on Cobra Kai, and then if it's bad, I guess I'll say it's bad, and we can all move on. I did see I saw there's 2 that are confirmed now, Snape and Dumbledore, right? And then McGonagall is a rumor. So I've seen those, and I don't know. I'll reserve judgment fully until we get, or most of the way, until we actually see them. Well, there is supposed to technically, Life is Strange is getting a show adaptation, but it's been like 6 years in the making, maybe longer. They haven't done it yet. I don't think it would be good, and I have no faith in it. so I mean, I think it could be good, but I don't think it will. Yeah, he went a little rogue there. Yeah, there we go. I thought so. There's no way Jedi Survivor was 3 years old. Otherwise, time is just moving too fast. Oh, I see. Maybe like Game Awards time. I have never played that Jumanji video game that came out, but I have seen it, and I'm not a fan of the movie tie-in stuff. But hey, you do you. If you want to get the game, you get the game. But Fast and Furious, Jumanji, all that stuff. I don't know why they made a comeback. Yes, I will eventually do the Sly trilogy. My hardest Velocity 2X. If you've ever heard of Velocity 2X, it's Velocity 2X is the sequel. It's kind of, I think I would classify it as an indie like arcade type game. And if you've never heard of it, if you trust my opinion, it is so good. It is, I think PS3 era, PS4. I think they remastered type thing or re-released it. But it's about 10-ish years old, maybe older. That game is so difficult, but so like rewarding, and that both. So I would say it was the hardest platinum I ever got, and it was also the most rewarding platinum I ever got. I'm really, really proud of. I'm proud of that platinum. I'm also proud of Resogun. I'm proud of Sound Shapes, all that stuff. I'm proud of a lot of my platinums, to be honest with you. I've gotten a couple hard ones. See a movie every week. Are you an AMC Stubs member? I think I'm the free tier, but not the where I have to pay. But hey, if you pay for that Stubs thing, I've looked into. I mean, I think it's worth it so long as you actually want to go see the movies. I think it's definitely worth it. You watched Scream 6 this morning? Oh my God. Well, there you go. Very timely. Very, very timely. Well, it's interesting that they're ending the filming of Scream 7 right around the time of when Scream 6 came out. So that's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet. I want to watch it again. Well, I'm going to for sure at some point in my life I'm going to watch Scream 6 again, but probably leading into Scream 7, I'll watch all 6. But maybe I'll have to watch it before that. I don't know. Well, you're entitled to your opinion, Epic. You are. I think the Shrek thing looked pretty bad. I don't think it looked like Sonic level bad. I think it reminds me of the Sonic situation. Sonic was like one of the worst things to ever have happened, and then they fixed it. Shrek is not, but Shrek I think looks pretty bad. Looks pretty bad. I would not want to see. I don't want to see that movie. Will Scream 7 flop? No, I think it'll probably make a lot because of past killers. Yeah, it's an interesting discussion because, like, I know people will say they're like, using nostalgia or they're desperate, stuff like that. But it's interesting because I do wonder if, like, losing Melissa and Jen, like, I don't know. I've always talked about, okay, that I don't think these actors are as important to box office as people think. I don't know how much extra money these movies make just because the person is in it. I mean, Jenna Ortega is pretty popular, and you got Wednesday season 2 coming out, I think in the fall, right? So like she's gonna be riding high, but still, like she was riding high in Wednesday season 1, and then going into Scream 6, and like, does that get you 10 million extra dollars in the box office? Does it? You really don't know how much extra it gets you. And then now it's the reverse. Okay, well, how much doesn't it get you because she's in it? And then if you're going to make the argument that she gets you money, well, what does nostalgia get you, right? So like bringing back, 2 or 3 killers of the past, like, or bringing back So like, did Nev Campbell lose them any money in Scream 6? And I would really argue kind of no, to be honest with you. I would argue no. In the same way, I don't think that they brought all that much in. So I feel like, I guess, long story short, I feel like it's kind of a wash. I feel like nothing really changes. It comes down, I think, to the quality of the movie. If the movie, even though I know 4 wasn't really fair because 4 was better than the results that it got. And there's been better and worse Scream movies that have done like opposite things. So I do get that, but I think generally it matters about like how the movie is. So that's my long answer for that. I'll do a video. Like, I definitely want to talk about that kind of stuff as we get closer, like, for sure. Not, oh my God, yeah. Well, yeah, you got to do what you got to do to secure these games before they go up in price. And PS2s are not really. I think I got a PS2 2 years ago. I got a PS2 for like $75 in person at a retro store. So to get it on eBay or Mercari, or to go into some retro store that's around you, I'm sure you could find it for less than $100 a PS2. I don't think it's that difficult to find one. Controller and stuff. To find like a legitimate PS2 controller is actually more difficult than you might think. But that would actually maybe be the hardest part, or the most expensive part. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think they would keep. I would have no faith. I'd have no faith in a Life is Strange show, to be honest with you. Did you get the well, I assume you maybe got the platinum. Did you get the platinum in Rebirth? You won't be the same. Well, I think it's still my game of the year. That's my that's the thing that I get afraid of with platinuming certain games. I'm very picky, as you might tell, or you might be able to tell. A game like that's my game of the year, right? And a game that just is, forever changed me, and I love it to death. If platinuming it makes it be ruined, then I'm not gonna platinum it. I mean, that's just a line that I will draw. That's why I try to be picky. I'm like, God of War 3, I have the platinum, and I think that actually almost enhances the game. Or the Uncharted platinums, which I have 3 of the 4 of the main games, the main installments. Those I don't think hurts the game. If a platinum hurts the game, I try to not platinum it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I do not think Jill is still alive, but I do think Jill should and probably will be in Scream 7. That's my answer to that one. Oh yeah, no, for sure. If you go to movie theaters, AMC Platinum is 100% worth it. Like, that's a fact. And honestly, back in the day, I would have. I mean, we didn't see when I would see in my peak, like for 3 years in a row. I think I've said this before, but for probably like 2-3 years in a row, I saw about 40 movies a year. So almost once a week. So that was my average. And the thing is, though, we were in an area. AMC was like 25 plus minutes away. So we had a Regal that was like 6 minutes away. So I would go to Regal, and I had the points thing. So every couple of weeks, I would get free popcorn. I would get a free movie. But I never had the opportunity to do like that. That would have totally been worth it. Back 12 years ago, maybe. No, that's probably too long. Maybe 10 years ago, I would have been able to do that. I would have wanted it, and I probably would have used it to its fullest potential. But also, I don't know. There's just not as many movies as I'm interested nowadays. But I'm also, I feel different. Versus, I can, I can personally. It's okay. Some people don't see as much of a change in Shrek, and I do. I personally do. I think they look much worse. But that's just me. Spiral Regan. Oh my god, very nice, very nice. Sydney's like a superhero in a lot of these movies, but specifically Scream 4. Yeah, she took a lot of pain. But remember, Scream 4 was going to end differently. So, like an interesting what if type thing there. Oh, I would totally make it. Well, a Life is Strange show is announced and is real. It's just that they've never done it, but it is like a thing. I've made videos on it. You could look it up. So, yeah, but I would if it was like coming out. I would make a lot of videos on a Life is Strange show, of course. So the rumor is she left because of the Melissa firing. I personally kind of believe it. I know because of the Jasmine Savoy Brown thing and Mason Gooding thing that maybe Jenna just dropped out because of Wednesday. Remember, the original rumor was that because she could not, and we know that when they were filming now and when they were going to film, when the movie didn't fall apart, she wouldn't have been able to film much at all. Okay, that's just a fact. So she probably would have only been able to film for a week. And the rumor at that time was they were going to kill her in the movie. They were going to kill Tara as part of the film. So I don't know if the end result would have actually, she just wouldn't have been a character that would have been killed at the end of the day. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would have wanted to see that. So, but I think it's like I said, I think it's possible that both of them one day. Time heals all wounds for the most part, and I feel I don't know if they'll ever make up with Melissa, but sometimes the franchise switches hands, right? Like the rights holders and stuff. So all it takes is somebody that's not them to have Scream, and all of a sudden she might be willing to listen, and they might want her back, and then all of a sudden she's back in the movies, right? It might not actually be all that difficult. Oh, a Cinemark. Nice. Nice. Yeah, there's so many chains nowadays, aren't there? And like I said, I mean, growing up, there was just Regal. There was AMC. I think maybe I went to AMC once, maybe IMAX once. There was a specialty theater that would do the was it the Fandango, the special nights. I watched Killing Joke there with a group of friends back in the day. That was the one time I ever went to that movie theater. I didn't even know it existed before. Maybe that was an AMC. Don't even know. Don't even know. I actually never watched Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, but I heard so many good things about it. I can't honestly look at you with a straight face and tell you that I care about watching it, but I have heard actually amazing things about that movie. The worst movie I've ever seen? Well, I watched The Room, and I can appreciate it for the Tommy Wiseau charm, but that movie is probably just really bad, right? I think that's safe to say. I don't know. I don't know though. Worst movie I've ever seen. Maybe it was The Room. I haven't watched that many movies I thought were unbelievably terrible, Oh, I'll tell you this. Well, I don't want to say. Probably The Last Jedi is not as bad of a film as The Room, like literally a bad film. Badly filmed, like cameras and acting and stuff like that. Obviously, it's nowhere near close. But in terms of damage that a movie did to its franchise, the amount of hate that I had for a particular thing, I do think actually The Last Jedi might be it, to be honest with you. That might be a hot take, but it killed Star Wars to me in my heart. And I mean, that's what can really compare to that, you know what I mean? So I don't know. And yeah, you're right. She did play Finn and Miles Morales. I wonder if she would ever come back if she never died. We'll see. Yeah, I liked both of those characters in 6, and I think, like I said, you leave the door open. You leave the door open, and maybe something happens, and maybe they come back 5-10 years from now. Something like that. Look at that. I actually caught up on all the comments. We'll probably end it here. But no, I appreciate you guys stopping by. I appreciate this Scream and then slightly gaming talk. But now next Friday, we're going to be celebrating the 10-year anniversary of the channel. Stay tuned because we got to kind of figure out what we're going to actually do. I'm thinking of a couple games maybe to play or some festivities, but we got 6 days, so we have time, but not too much time. So that's probably going to be next Friday, and then we will take it from there. Okay, so unless anything, I do believe Battlefield is this year, probably like late October is honestly my guess for Battlefield. Okay. That was nice. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know, Twitter or email the old man way. But let me know if you want to see anything specific for the 10-year anniversary. But join me next Friday and we'll have some fun. Okay. Videos will be going live over the next couple days. Death Stranding 2 is probably getting a release date like tomorrow or Sunday. So that's fun. But no, I appreciate you guys being here, and we'll see you all in the next videos.